Laden is dead, shot in the head by a fearless and very, very precise U.S. military special ops assault team. This is a great day in the war on terror. But as I watched all the celebrations taking place on the streets of America, all over America, you may have, and maybe I'm alone, had a strange feeling. You may have seen students jumping into the lake in Ohio and rushing into the White House bearing signs and smoking cigars. As I watched these things happen last night, I couldn't help but be reminded of when the Palestinians danced in the streets and passed out candy after the 9/11 attacks, when they danced in the streets over the killing of 5 American students and the slaughter of a Jewish family. All of these things, you know and I know, were offensive. All of those victims were innocent. America, we are better than this. We are better than jumping into lakes and holding signs and cigars. I think we're better than that. I mean, why hand out candy when you can have cookies and confetti and a marching band, huh? Yeah. That was tasteless. That was tasteless and offensive. You know what, I tell you, I have actually been struggling with my apologies for the marching. No, I'm not going to apologize for that. I have actually felt really kind of bad today about some of the grotesque displays. And then I thought, no, you can't beat them, join them. And so, hello, America. The White House is now debating whether or not to show the photos of a dead Osama bin Laden. The arguments for releasing them are pretty clear, to show the world that, yeah, that was him. The arguments against, well, they're pretty gruesome. According to ABC News, bin Laden had a massive head wound above his left eye where he took the bullet with brains and blood visible. My response to that is, I've been thinking about that guy looking like that for about 10 years now. I think I'm ready. We all saw The Godfather. You remember the scene where Moe Greene is getting a massage and then gets shot right through the glasses in the eye? Yeah, that's what happened to bin Laden. In fact, I've been thinking about it. Who took my artist rendition? Oh, here it is. I worked on this all day. Can we get Harry, look at that. Now, I don't know if it was the right eye, his right eye, or the artist's right eye. I don't know, but this is about as close as we can go. Show the photos, for the love of Pete. Believe me, America can handle the violent images. Our kids are growing up with video games like this one. So, I mean...
Look and wonder how it came to this.
He's got a contact in Rio. Don't you have a guy on the inside?
Okay, so let's not pretend that Americans won't be able to handle seeing another Moe Greene special. Plus, put all of that aside. Think of the conspiracy theories that are being dreamed up even as we speak. They buried bin Laden at sea. The stated reason would be so there would be no shrine that could be erected to honor him as a martyr. Well, why did we get rid of the body? I mean, quite honestly, 100 years ago, we would have taken that thing from town to town and charged money to see it. You know what I'm saying? Does the marching band agree? Yeah? Give me a little number. Go ahead. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So anyway, we're carried around from town to town, and the conspiracy theorists are not going to be satisfied. Next thing you know, Trump is going to be asking for a death certificate, and is it the real death certificate? And then all hell breaks loose. Yesterday, by the way, was the anniversary of the announcement of another famous mass murderer's death. Did you know this? Adolf Hitler killed himself on April 30th, and it was announced on May 1st. The same day, bin Laden had his first and last close encounter with an American Special Forces team. But there were those who claimed that Hitler never died because he fled on 2 U-boats during a ghost convoy to Argentina, and the conspiracy theories never stopped. Furthermore, I don't know why we didn't keep him on ice next to the body of Disney down, because you know he's on that island with the fake hippopotamuses that go, roar. That's where Disney's being kept. You know that. Why not keep bin Laden there? Why were we so cautious about following the traditional procedures for Islamic burial? Preparations at sea for an at-sea burial began at 1:10 a.m. and were completed at 2 a.m. The body was on the deck of a U.S. aircraft carrier in the North Arabian Sea after being washed according to Islamic custom and receiving a religious funeral. The body was placed in a white sheet and put on a flat board, and they slid him off into the sea. May I just say, I'm pretty sure, I know I've heard it from my own government, the last one, this last administration, and this administration. This guy's not a Muslim. Remember, he's a murderer. So why the need to be so religious in the burial? I bet the non-radical Muslims everywhere are offended this guy was treated with religious honors. I spoke to a Muslim friend of mine who said the very same thing today. This is like Timothy McVeigh getting buried in Arlington Cemetery. He was a deranged killer. Personally, I wouldn't have wrapped him in white cloth. I would have wrapped him up in bacon, and then I would have sewn him up inside of a football, and I would have buried him under the 50-yard line in the Meadowlands. You know what I'm saying? Would have served him right, would have been great for New York, and I could sleep well, knowing that he'd spend all eternity in New Jersey. The fact that we went to such lengths to make this statement should tell you something about those who have perverted this religion and are inspired by Osama bin Laden. He's a mass murderer. And if we say, I'm just thinking out loud, encrusted his body in bacon bits, well, they would have flipped. They flip over a cartoon. This man has killed thousands of innocent people. I'm sorry, when you do that, you kind of lose the whole respectful burial thing in my book. I'm more than okay with him hearing "Touchdown Giants" while he waits for the 72 virgins in unusually warm temperatures for all of eternity. But that's for a debate for another day. Today, our focus should be on the amazing, amazing armed forces. The Special Forces and the SEALs are getting credit for this one. In fact, SEAL Team 6. But here's a fun exercise. Can anyone name the source that said SEAL Team 6 did this? We can't find it. It's reporters saying that. Look SEAL Team 6 up. They don't exist, at least on paper. So we don't know who did this. Could have been the Coast Guard. Could have been the Rangers. Could have been the Delta Force. We don't know who did it. We do know this. It was the U.S. military. And may I say to the military, thank you. What you have done, struggling for 10 long years, is incredible. Thank you. The operation that resulted in the death of the world's #1 most wanted man began way back in the Clinton administration. During a little chat with detainees, no word yet on where these detainees were being held, Guantanamo, perhaps, or maybe somewhere more insidious, the kind of place you would find in the rendition program that Bill Clinton started. You know, the ghost plane that picked people up and then, Egypt, no wait, I'll talk. That one. One of the people that was being waterboarded provided a key detail, the identity of a trusted bin Laden courier, as someone who was protecting and perhaps even living with him. In 2007, they confirmed the identity of this courier. In 2009, investigators pinpointed areas where this courier could be living in Pakistan. And then this summer, In August of 2010, the exact residence of the courier was located. In February of this year, the president met with U.S. officials and said there's enough intelligence to assume that bin Laden was there. And over the last 2 months, a plan to take bin Laden out was crafted. And on Friday, President Obama gave the order to send in the SEALs, or whoever he may have sent in. In the early hours of Sunday morning, our guys made history. Before we move on, let me just say this to the President, our Commander-in-Chief. Thank you. The bin Laden compound was not in remote caves along the Pakistan border like many thought. It was here in a relatively affluent neighborhood with many retired military. It was 1,000 yards from their version of West Point. Gee, I can't find bin Laden. 1,000 yards. The compound is valued at about $1 million, which I really was surprised. I didn't think property values were that high. It must be a nice part of Pakistan. A 3-story house on 1 acre. It had an 18-foot wall and very few windows. The strike team was ready to go. They boarded the choppers and then headed for the compound. When they approached the compound, there was a problem with one of the helicopters. Now, these guys like to strike hard and fast. They didn't have much time to get the enemy off guard considering all of the noise, and now one of the helicopters was malfunctioning. The president and a select few who were watching from the Situation Room, they were watching live, held their breath. But our guys said, "We're going in." A senior official said the assault team went ahead and raided the compound, even though they didn't know if they would have a ride home. God bless the U.S. military. They had a hard landing. They set the helicopter down in the compound and then went in after bin Laden. Here the details get a little bit murky, shall you say, but bin Laden and associates resisted. Oh, shoot, are we going to have to shoot them in the end? Yes. They began a futile shootout with the deadliest strike force the world has ever seen. The shootout raged. Bin Laden is said to have personally engaged our troops. It was only a matter of time before we got him, and he ended up getting a bullet. Right. This is not an actual picture. His couriers were taken out. We don't know which one, but one of these dirt bags used a woman as a human shield. The woman turned out to be one of Osama bin Laden's many wives. So there he was, using a shield. She was killed, and so was whichever dirt bag was holding her. When I heard this part of the story, I thought to myself, gee, how predictable. Using a woman to hide behind. They hide behind women and children all the time. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Well, the story goes that we asked Osama bin Laden to surrender. He refused. I wonder if we gave him a second chance. I'm not sure if he was finished with his dialysis yet, but we shot him in the head. A reinforcement aircraft came for the evac. Our guys took possession of bin Laden's body, carried it out, and got the hell out of Pakistan, even though it's a very nice house. It all went down in about 40 minutes. Here's the best part. None of our guys were killed or seriously wounded. No civilians were hurt or killed. This morning, when I started my radio broadcast, I played the audio of September 11th, again, something that I had put together years ago, so we wouldn't forget what this was really all about. It's been a long time coming, and I cannot adequately express in words how grateful I am that the U.S. military is there. Now, to top it off, after they went in and got him and then got out, after the kill, second to none, they clean him up. I mean, here's a guy who was either directly responsible for or inspired radical terrorists to kill to kill their brothers. This guy has killed how many, or inspired to kill how many of our servicemen and women? Our troops have lost brothers, they have lost arms and legs. Wives have lost husbands and vice versa. Kids have been orphans. Lives have been forever altered. The whole world has changed because of this dirtbag. And yet they still wash his body and care for it and wrap it. I'd give my right arm to have a can of Spam at that point, but they didn't. No other country in the world, in fact, in the history of the world, has ever done anything like that. Will it matter? No. No, it won't. But we didn't change. You know, every time I think that, oh, I don't know if we could do the cookies or the confetti or whatever, I see it's not marching in the streets for innocent victims. It is celebrating in the streets for a journey that has been long and hard and been fought valiantly with honor, and people have tried to do the right thing. And this guy was certainly not innocent. Let's not forget who this man was. He was the mastermind behind 9/11. 3,000 innocent people, innocent, dead. But that's not all. The 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the 1996 bombing of the Khobar Towers, the 98 U.S. Embassy bombings in Kenya, 219 were killed there. Dar es Salaam, 5,000 injured. In 2000, the USS Cole in Yemen, the attacks again of September 11th, the U.S. consulate in Pakistan. In 2002, do you remember the Bali nightclub bombings? In 2002, he went to Kenya again and bombed some more. I know I cannot speak for these people, so this is unofficial. But this is for everyone involved in this operation. All of those men and women who have been wearing the uniform, or those that we don't ever know their names or don't know their faces, who have worked tirelessly in the years leading up to last night. Despite all odds, despite the politicians on both sides and both parties handcuffing you, may I just say, thank you. Daniel Pearl, if he could speak, would say, thank you. Pat Tillman, thank you. Todd Beamer and the other victims of United Flight 93, thank you. Barbara Olson, thanks you. Intelligence agent Johnny Michael Spann, thanks you. Michael P. Murphy and Max Axelton. Matt Axelton of SEAL Team 10, thanks you. The 17 USS Cole servicemen, including Petty Officer 2nd Class Timothy Lamont Saunders, thanks you. The 3,000 people who died on September 11th, the 3,000 people, thank you. The people who finally woke up from our slumber and realized how close we really were to losing our freedom, thank you. My family thanks you, and I thank you.